Alright guys, now we're in FL Studio. Now today I want to show you how compression works and explain to you so you really understand what compression is. I feel like a lot of tutorials and a lot of people don't really explain compression in a more simple way and in a way that you can grasp it and understand it, so that whenever you get your hands on a compressor, no matter which brand it is, no matter if it's a real one or any VST that's a compressor or the FL Studio compressor itself, you understand what you're trying to do and what you can get out of using a compressor and using compression. So I just opened the project here and I'm gonna load a compressor. I'm gonna load two compressors for now. I'm gonna load the FL compressor and I'm gonna load a FabFilter Pro C. So I'm going to load the FabFilter Pro C over here, and then I'm going to also load the FL compressor. Where is it? I hate not being able to find things. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I've got these two compressors. Now, firstly, what I want you to understand is these two compressors are more or less the same. The Fruity compressor is just a basic compressor that lets you only do compression to your signal. It's not so fancy. It doesn't have so much metering and, you know, all other extras that you'll find like here on the FabFilter Pro C, but that does not mean you cannot achieve the same thing that the Pro C can do for you if you're only using the Fruity compressor, because all you just want to do is compress. So if you want more things like the extras they have on the Pro C, you're gonna have to load something else after the compressor. So if you don't have this Pro C, don't necessarily feel like you don't have a good compressor, because you already have a good compressor. So my thing is, compression is all about understanding what it's doing for you, so that you don't now worry and stop yourself and limit yourself because you don't have a specific compressor that you see XD using in his tutorials. So when I'm showing you all these things, I'm just trying to, you know, show you different styles and different types of these VSTs, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm trying to show off using something that you don't have. So the key things that you would want to know on a compressor and understand mostly is these two, the threshold and the ratio. They are the most important things in understanding what a compressor does and how it can help you. So I'm going to play you this track. This track does not have any processing on the master, and then I'm going to show you how it sounds and what a compressor can do to your track as a master after you mix, and then I'm going to show you inside the track itself what it can do in your mix. So I'm just going to play a snippet of this so you can hear what it sounds like without any processing on the master. Okay, so the ratio was already kind of up, so which means there's processing. Let me switch that off. So this line over here shows you the gain reduction that's happening. So gain reduction is what a compressor actually does. It's reducing the gain that is going above a certain threshold. So this threshold over here is what determines how much of the compression you want applied to the input that you to your signal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this threshold all the way down to 36. Some compressors go all the way down to more, like the threshold on the FL compressor goes all the way to 60, minus 60 dB. So this one goes down to 36, minus 36. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to raise my threshold all the way up to 100%, and I'm going to play back so you can hear the difference. So you can hear the signal is squashed because it reduced so much gain out of the signal that it's now just sausaged out. But that's not the effect that we're looking for. Compression is just supposed to kind of turn down, you know, those peaks and kind of level out your track so that it sounds thicker. So now let me show you a way you can actually do this up until you get to a good point where you can say, okay, my signal sounds fine, I've compressed enough. So my threshold is all the way down, because it starts, you know, from 0 dB, which means it's not, you know, it's not affecting anything. Even if I raise the ratio all the way to 100%, nothing is going to happen to, you know, to my signal. So if I play and I lower the threshold, you're going to see it's going to start affecting the signal. So as you can see, my peaks are now being turned down by the compression. If I exaggerate this, it squashes it. So now it's up to your ear to choose what level of compression is enough for you on your master, what sounds good. Because all you're just trying to do with compression is control your peaks and control your dynamics, but not squash it so much that the quieter parts of your track, when not so much is playing, is now loud, the same loudness as when everything is playing. So you still need to keep your track dynamic, but at the same time very nice and, you know, round and wholesome. So that's what compression does to your master. So let me just put this on a nice place that I feel is nice, and then we take it from there. I think that level is fine, because all I just want to be kind of pulled down is mostly my kick and some of the percussion and the hats that I have in the track, because those are the ones that are shooting up, you know, in the track, and I just need them to come down so that they're not too much, so that they're controlled. So that's what I'm just trying to control. So after you catch those peaks with your compression and turn them down, that's when you can start doing stuff like EQing and imaging and stuff like that, as long as now you have your sound really nice. So if we now come back to the FL compressor, let me just mute the Pro C, and I start playing and I lower the threshold and I raise the ratio, you can hear it's actually compressing a lot because our threshold went too low. If I raise it, you can hear it coming back. But now the gain reduction lowered all the volume out of the track and the signal. That's why it sounds like the volume got low. So that's why we have now this gain here to now compensate for that gain and give it back. So now if I raise my gain back up, you can hear. Now let me play it without. With. So the Fruity compressor is actually a very powerful compressor. You just have to know how to use it and know what these dials do and what these switches do. You see, so compression is very important, and especially if you're on the mixing and mastering stage, you can control anything. Like here on the drum mix, I have a video where I talk about using like a parallel bus to control your drum mix. You can also add your compressor here on the drum mix as well, in order to actually make just your drums sound very nice. Like if I can solo my drums over here. So you just have to watch your threshold and make sure that you're not affecting too much of the signal. So you see, that sounds much more tighter, much more thicker than when it's all loose like that. So I hope you find this very helpful, and you understand that no matter what compressor you have, no matter which one you have, it will work wonders for you as long as you know how to use your threshold, your ratio, and give back gain from that gain reduction that you would have applied. There's other compressors like the CLA2A. It just has a gain switch and a peak reduction knob, just two knobs on it. You don't need the rest. It's just a simple compressor. You'll find compressors at radio stations, you'll find them at TV stations, you'll find it at big PA systems and all that. You'll find compressors everywhere. Like VLC even has a compressor on it. Like if you look at VLC over here, there's a compressor, enable dynamic range, compressor. In case if you're watching a movie and you want your sound to be not to be too dynamic, because movies tend to have dynamic sound in them. So that's an extra tip for you in this video. Compressors are everywhere, and they're very important to understand and learn and do research on and know how to use if you're gonna want to be making music. It's an important thing for you to know. So I hope you find this video very helpful, and I want this to kickstart 2019 into getting the knowledge up, into being a better producer. So if you find this video very helpful, leave a like down below. It supports the channel. Subscribe if you're new. We have a lot of great content here. I have a playlist on mixing and mastering where you find this video. You can watch my other videos. They'll also help you in mixing and mastering. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll check you guys out in my next video. I am X and I'm out. Peace.